कृते भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So, give me a little time. I think I have shared a wrong book. Which one is this? Let me check where is that. Oh, that book. No, where is that? Not this one. Okay, so I'm just trying to open that book again. There is some problem, and then we will do it. Kalyana Piyusavakya. Okay, there is some problem with this link. We can do it. We can share this page, yeah, because we are having some difficulty in. But then, where is the page number? Oh, we have gone far ahead in this. I don't know why that page is not opening. What? Give me 1 second. There's some problem. Yeah, we're coming close. I don't know why that. That file is not opening, anyways. Yeah. So we have come to that page where we were doing, yeah. So from there on, we can do it. Okay, so let me say that page and you can have a look at it. This is a resource page. We were dealing with, remember the debate. The debate was the Vijnanavada Mata Nirasha. And the Vijnanavada Mata Nirasha, the key points that we were dealing with was like this. The Vijnanavadi says that you just now proved that the presence of external reality is not having any concomitance or logical concomitance with Bandha Karanam. So, because in Samadhi, Murchavasa, and Shushupti, Vahya Jagat is there, but there is no Sukha Dukha Anubhava, so there is no bondage. On the other hand, in dream, Vahya Vishaya is not there, yet you are in bondage. So the main concomitance that you are being able to observe is that between the Dhimaya Vishaya, the mental, the Jiva Srishti, that in fact is really creating the bondage. That is what we established in the previous slokas, and therefore Vijnanavadi, the one of the views of Buddhist Yogachara Mata, he is trying to say that in that sense, absolutely, you cannot anyway provide any justification as to why we have to believe in external reality, and he propounds his theory. Then essentially, actually, there is a similarity of argument between the Buddhists of the Yogacara school of thought and Vedanta, that it is the mind, mana eva karanam, manushanang karanam bandha moksha yoho. So far human beings are concerned, there is a mind which is responsible for whether you are in bondage or you are able to attain moksha. So that's a similarity of argument. Taking that, the Vijnanavadi will come and say, the moment you say this, you are in a way falling into the trap of Upasiddhanta, because you are propounding a theory which denies any reality, any external reality. Vedanti doesn't deny external reality, it accepts phenomenal validity of the external reality. Vyavaharika Satyata is accepted by the Vedantins. Therefore, there is some bit of a logical argument going on in the verse number 36. Vijnanavado vahyartha bartha syad iha iti ched na hridyakaramadhatum vahyasya apekshitatvatah. Because in fact, for having any mental construction, according to the Vedantic point of view, you have to have vahyakara karita vritti has to be there. The mind, in order to reflect something, there has to be something outside. It cannot create a reality of its own. Immediately the Buddhist will say, how do you see the dream? There is no external object. And the Vedanti will answer that all dreams are products of, it's a mixture of smriti and vasana. You have some kamana and you have some vasana. There are certain encrypted, you have a lot of memory, and there are different stuff taken from different experiences put together. A new storyline is created in the dream based on your kamana, any traumas and stuff like that, but it is nothing that you have never experienced. So the bahyakara karitata, this thing is there. Now it has taken a smriti form, it has taken the form of memory. There is not a denial of any external reality because of the dream. In dream, we are trying to say this is mithya, means it's not trikalavadya. It cannot, it's not irrefutable. There is a particular state in which it gets sublated in Jagrata Avastha. Whatever you see, which whatever appears as real becomes unreal once we wake up from our sleep. So Trikala Vadhyatva is a ground for truth. It's not holding ground in case of dream reality. It also doesn't hold any ground for Jagrat reality. So we call it Vyavaharika Satya. We call the Swapna Avastha, whatever we see, as Prativhasika Satya. But Paramarthika Satya is only Brahman. All of these are intermediate layers of reality which get sublated upon Atmajnana Prapti, upon self realization. So, therefore, he says, Na hridi akaram adhadum bahyasa apekshita tvataha. And we had gone in the commentary, I don't want to repeat again. In the commentary, if you see, there are, again, we have to go one page before this is a wiki source page. So, that is the complete complication. So, ekasyapi upadeshyasya upadeshyanam, that we have already done. That even though upadesya is one, upadeshya, depending on their adhikaras, are four categories, and according to them, Buddhism is formulated in the form of four schools of thought: Madhyamika, Yogachara, Sautantrika, and Vaibhashika. We are now dealing with the Vijnanavada, Vijnana Atirikto Bahyartho Nasti, that is their viewpoint. Yadi Vidyate, if it exists, Utpanno Anutpanno Atito. So he's saying, you tell me, no, adyaha, it's not there. Yadi Vidyate, it is not. He says, Utpannasya Khanikatpena Tad Uttarakshane Avidyamanatvat. If you say that external reality which is Utpanna, that means it has already manifested. Now it is Kshanika. There's a Kshanika Vijnanavada. Therefore, he has refuted that it is Kshanika, and therefore, and then Anutpanna. If it is Anutpanna, how will you experience it? Then Atita, if it is there in the past, already it is in a past kshana. So how can you know? So it's impossible for you to accept reality as either utpanna or anutpanna or atita. Refuted. One ground. Second, यदि बाह्यार्थ ज्ञान विषय भवति किम अवयवीभूत घटादि. Now he's saying it becomes the object of your knowledge in whole or in part. That is the second level of refutation he's saying. Now if you look at ekadesha or abhavibhuta whole ghatadi, your eye cannot see, it cannot see the backside of the ghata. Any object you see, you can see only the front side. Now you will say, no, you can see the paramanu ekadesasta. Do you see the ghata as an atom? And if you see it as an atom, how can you say it's a ghata? Because atom refers to something else. It is just a tiny particle. You cannot put, and then he's saying, if you put together 5 billion atoms and you call it a ghata, no, that's a futile exercise, because when you look at a jungle, you might call it a jungle for the heck of convenience, but actually these are millions of trees standing apart from each other. Similarly, in a ghata, you have billions of particles, and these particles are all apart because there is some intermolecular space even in solids. Therefore, that is also, he's saying. And then if you see that you are being able to see the atoms, then he's saying nirangsasya paramanur. That he said yugapa sambandho dusadaha satkena sa, the six directions or the four directions and top and bottom. If you look at the six directions, he's saying how can, which doesn't have any avayava, can be connected with all this. And then even if you are able to see this, then again that nirang sattva, that it doesn't have any parts, that gets refuted, because for them atom doesn't have any shape or size. Then second one thing is, any external object will have a class, jati. So he's saying, okay, it's a universal. Evam jatyadinam api buddhyam. Similarly, it doesn't apply. Yati katham vyakti vidyate kashena uta ekadeshena. That is the paragraph we had done it. Na adyaha yadi yati कृष्णतया एकस्मिन् घटे विद्यते तदा घटान्तरितस्य अनुपलब्धिः कात्स्न्येन. The whole of the ghata, the jati, ghatatva prakaraka jati, that it belongs wholly to the ghata. If you say this, then what about other ghatas? It goes there or not? It will not go, because you are focusing fully on one particular vyakti. How will it go to other vyakti? Vyakti means one object. Jati vyakti. In Nyaya, they have this distinction. Now, ghatatva is actually, that jati is kind of nitya. So it is there. Okay, nityatva sati aneka anugatatvam, that kind of a definition they gave. Now, jati they will say, but that is refuted by the Vijnanavadis, saying that does it belong to the part or the whole? Okay. Now, if you say that it belongs to the atoms, that ghatatva thing, you will say no. Why? He's saying, na dityaha jatir niravayvatvat. Jati is not having any parts. And then how can it apply to one part of the ghata? And then another argument is also refuted there. He's saying, nanu जायमानस्य ज्ञानस्य साधारणात्मत्वात् बाह्य विषय सारूप्य रूप विशेष संबंधम अंतरा घटपटादि विविध वस्तु ज्ञान से असंभवात् ज्ञानस्य विषय सारूप्यम अवश्यम अंगीकर्तव्यम इति चेत्. This is a question raised by the Vedanti. We are doing Vijnanavada argument and we are trying to refute. But in our dialogical system of argumentation, we give adequate position and space to the person against whom we are arguing. So we have to represent his argument very well. So there is a Vedanti refuting the Vijnanavada. However, in order to strengthen it, it presents a doubt in the argument of the Vijnanavada, then refutes it, then gives a stronger argument. So what is the first line of challenge? He's saying, Nanu jayamanasya jnanasya sadharanatmatvat. Any jnana, there is a general category, there is a universal character to it. Sadharana atmatvat, that is jnana per se, some knowledge. Now, if you say jnana means knowledge, and It doesn't have any special features. Special features will not be possible because Vijnanavadi is talking about Vijnana. Now, if you're saying everything is Vijnana, how do you distinguish between Ghata Jnana and Pata Jnana? Knowledge of a boy from knowledge of a girl. You are distinguishing between knowledge of a boy from the knowledge of a girl. How? By saying this Jnana Vishayataya. As the object of this Jnana, you have a boy. Object of this Jnana, Vishaya, is a girl. That is how the Balaka Jnana and Valika Jnana, Putra Jnana, Kanya Jnana, they are different from each other. That is the Vedanti saying. So there should be, you should grant that Vahya Vishaya Sarupya Rupa Vishesha Sambandha. So there is a Bahya Vishaya, Sarupya, and then Vishesha Sambandha. There should be some kind of a special relationship between any specific Jnana and its Vishaya. Without which, Ghatapatadi Vividha Vastu Jnanasya Asambhavat. Otherwise, how do I have several Jnanas of different objects? Jnanasya Vishaya Sarupya Avasyam Angikartavyam iti chet. So you should accept that there is some kind of a Vahya Karita Vritti, as a result of which Vishishta Jnana emerges in the mind. That is what the Vedanti is trying to argue with the Buddhist, and he said, no. Iti chet, no, you can't say this. Why? Jnanagata Visheshyasya eva Jnanena Vishekarnat na Vahyartha Siddhi. He's saying, no. The Vishesha you are looking for in the difference between boy and girl is not a very important point. Within the jnana, depending on your own vasanas, you are creating image of a boy and an image of a girl. Everything is in you. Based on your vasanas, you are creating this whole world. But Vedanta says, no, I have vasanas, I grant that to you. But there is a basic difference between the way I think and you think. For you, Vijnana is everything. I'm saying Vijnana needs a foundation, which is the external reality. That is the finer distinction. How he's saying? He's saying, look, he's saying, Vishaykarnat na vahyartha siddhi mana bhavat. There is no such argument. Kalpana gauravacha. And this is an unnecessary imagination. If knowledge itself can produce multiplicity of forms in itself, based on your own vasana and your own kamana, what is the need of imagining there is an external reality? Vijnana Vishayor evam avedo anivarya eva. Vijnana and Vishaya, knowledge and the object of knowledge, is just one reality. Then he's further going on and explaining Vijnana Vishayor Vede Sati. If you argue that Vijnana Vishaya are different, knowledge and the object of knowledge are different, Tayor Niyata Sambandhayor Lokanubhoyamano Niyata Sambandho Veda Pakhe na Utpadyade. He's saying, look, actually, this highlighter and this pen are different. How do you prove that? Sometimes the pen will be there, the highlighter may not be there. Sometimes the highlighter may be there, pen may not be there. If they are all the time appearing simultaneously at the same time everywhere, there is no way you can prove they're two different things. That is the argument. How he's trying to saying Vishana Vijnana Vishayor Vede Sati, if they were actually different, Tayor Niyata Samandha Loka Anubhoyamano Niyata Samandho Veda Pakhe na Utpadyade. If you are having this Vishaya and Jnana, they are two different. He's saying no. He's giving an example. Eka Kala Vachedena, they all the time simultaneously happen to appear at the same location or same time. How? Bhasamana yor nila tad dhiyo vishaya vijnana yor niyamena sahaplabdhi lakhyate loke. This is a red color thing. And then I have this knowledge that it is red. The redness of this object and the redness in my consciousness. How do you say there are two different rednesses? Is there any way you can prove it? Because they are happening at the same time. Eka kala vachedana te bhavanti eva. So because they are these things happen at the same time. So he's saying Saupalabdhi lakhyate loke, that is what you experience in everyday life. Tayor anyatara anupalambhe, because one doesn't happen, the other is not there. You cannot say that the red object exists and that I say this is a red object and there is no red jnana in me. They happen at the same time. He's saying upalambhe kasyapi upalabdher abhavat tayor anyatar anupalambhe kasyapi upalabdhe abhavat. If the redness of the object is not there, redness in my jnana will not be there. Redness in my jnana is not there, then the object cannot be there. Tayor niyata sahapalabdhir taya tayoho tadatma siddhi. Therefore, they are one only. How? Yatha mrudghatayoho. Mrud and mritika and ghata, clay and pot. When you have knowledge of the pot, you are also having knowledge of clay. It is made of clay. Can you have knowledge of pot without knowledge of clay? But Vedanta has sophisticated answers to this, because you see, there is karya karana bhava sambandha. The ghata, when you have ghata jnana, you have knowledge of clay. But it's possible for you to have clay jnana without having the pot, knowledge of pot. Without ghata jnana, you can have mritika jnana, because mritika is manipulated to produce a ghata. If you are looking at a golden necklace, you have gold jnana, you have suvarna jnana, because you are looking at a golden necklace. But it's possible for you to have gold jnana or knowledge of gold without having knowledge of the necklace, because necklace may not be there. You can only, so that he is trying to distinguish it, because here that udaharana he is giving, but actually what he's saying is knowledge of an object and the object, they always coexist. You cannot have existence of anything without its knowledge. How do you say it exists? The moment you say it exists, you already know it, right? There is no reality independent of consciousness. That is the basic point he's trying to make. So you cannot talk about a reality. The reality is, and I don't know about it. How do you say the reality is? He is also having a very important point to make. तथा विषय विज्ञानयोर अपि तयोर भासमानो Bheda Bhranta Kalpitaha. So then, if you are saying that there is a distinction between object of knowledge and knowledge, yeah, object of knowledge and knowledge of that object, there are two different things saying Bhranta Kalpitaha. That is a faultily, this is a faultily known thing. It's a false cognition. Ekasmin savade ditya chandrasya darsanamiva. And then actually there is one moon and you have some problem in your eyes. There is a faulty way of looking at it, and because of faulty vision, which is called timira dosha during the night. So he's saying at amerika sakhyusa yanna drishe tadhi ditya chandrasya asatvam, that the second moon doesn't exist. What is the proof of that? When that timira dosha in the eye, the vision problem you have, has been fixed, there is some kind of a surgery the doctor does, the eye doctor, surgeon, he does and fixes that problem in the vision. So you are seeing two of them. Now you see only one. And asatva of the second moon, how do you prove? By correcting your vision. You know what is the meaning of this argument? The meaning of this argument is actually external reality and knowledge of external reality is one thing. Where is the problem? The problem doesn't lie in two moons. The problem lies in the vision problem. Similarly, it is the problem of our cognition. It's the problem of our consciousness and understanding that we try to separate the object of our knowledge and knowledge. Consciousness and external reality we see as two different realities, but there's just one. That is what he's trying to say. Jagrati ye buddhi gochara ghatapatadi pratyaya bin. Then he's saying Jagrati ye buddhi gochara. Buddhi gochara means buddhi vishaya. Ghatapatadi, and all this you see, ghatapatadi, pratyaya. So buddhi gochara, what is that? You know about a ghata, you know about a pata, awareness of pencil, awareness of a ink pot or whatever. Bina eva bahyarthena, without any external reality, ज्ञेय ज्ञातृ स्वरूपा भवन्ति. So bahyarthena bina eva bahyarthena ज्ञेय ज्ञातृ स्वरूपा भवन्ति. So what trying to say that in the waking state all this appear as if the jnata, jnatri and jnaya and jnana, they appear to be all three different things. Yatha sopne, like in the dream also you have perception that you are playing a game in a dream, and there are people playing with you, and there is a target you are trying to achieve. It's all you only, it's your consciousness only, nothing else. Is there anything external? Nothing. Same also in the waking state, he's trying to say. Very similar argument to what the Vedanti says, except that Vedanti talks about Vyavaharika Satta Siddhi. They are refuting it. अविद्यमानानां मरीचि उदक गंधर्व नगरादीनां स्वप्ने बुद्धिगोचरा प्रत्ययाः प्रतिदिनम अनुभूयन्ते एव. Now there are certain things which actually do not exist per se. What is marichi udaka? So you have a water body in a mirage, yeah, and then Gandharva Nagari. You look at the clouds, and it looks like a town of the angels. Do they exist? They don't exist. All that you see in the dream and in the Jagrat state, waking state, similarly, you are making distinctions between the knower, the known, the process of knowing. Is only one consciousness, one reality, very close to Vedanta, except they do not have the sophisticated of Vedanta of accepting that there is a Vyavaharika Satta. Vastunaha Jnana Swarupa Jnana Swarupam Akara Vidhuram. That Jnana Swarupata of the Vastus, of the reality, is saying Akara Vidhuram. For Vedanti, you have to have that Tadakara Vritti. They are saying, no, Tad Akara. What Tad? Tad doesn't exist, it's Jnanakara only. It assumes there is no external thing on which Jnana goes and observes and attains and, gets reflected back in the mind. That is what the Vedanta view of Tadakara Vritti, they don't accept it. Na Jnanakaram, na Jnayakaram. Per se Jnana, that is what they are referring to pure Jnana as Ala Vijnana, na Jnanakaram, na Jnayakaram. Vrantikrita Viparyasavasad Jnanam, Jnatra, Jnana, Jnaya Rupena, Trividham Iva Pratiyate. It's because of your own ignorance, because we are this particular, because they talk about these 8 forms in which Vijnana appears. One, you have these 5 indriyas, Chakshu Jnana and Shravana Jnana, all that. And then they will have this Manovijnana, and then so you'll say Krishna Manovijnana, then Ala Vijnana, all 8 forms. So he's saying it's because of the tainted nature of our consciousness, we divide reality, which is pure consciousness, Vijnana only, we divide it, split it into external reality, Jnaya, then knower, Jnatri, and process of knowing, Jnana. All this we are doing. It's our game. Trividham Iva. It appears as if they are of 3 types, 3 kinds, 3 categories. Vahyarthasya abhavepi, without any external reality. Vividakara vaichitre. Vasana vaichityam eva karanam. So, if there is no 3 types of realities, why they appear as 3 types? That would be a question. The Vijnanavadi says it's because of your vasana. It is your sanskara. It is there in you. Like in dream, you see as if you are different from the dream object. Similarly, in Jagrat Avastha, you see it because of your vasana vaichitrya. It's because of the diversity, complexity of your vasanas, encrypted data which is lying in the subconscious level in you, as a result of which you are making these distinctions. Per se, jnana is one only. Anado sansare mithyabhuta vasananam ananya karya karana bhedena jnatra jnanakara bhedah sampadyate. Very powerful statement is making. Anado sansare, the sansara has no beginning. Mithyabhuta vasana, the vasana is also not real. Mithyabhuta vasananam, and what happens to them? Ananya karya karana bhedena. One is cause, another is effect. There is a jnata, there is a jnaya, there is a jnana. All these distinctions this whole mind is making. Jnatra jnanakara bhedah sampadyate yatha bija vasanaya puspadir neela raktimadi bhedah. Now the encrypted data is there in the seed, as a result of which when that particular plant grows, you have flowers, and then one flower is red, another is blue. The data is lying in the seed, encrypted data. That's fructifying. Similarly, in our consciousness, these vasanas, the storehouse of all aspirations in this consciousness, that itself is manifesting as external reality. Anadi santana andaragata Purva Jnanam eva vasana. What is vasana is defining. Anadi santana andaragata Purva Jnanam eva vasana. Vasana is what is lying in you, that we had done in Bhagavad Gita. What is vasana? Whatever is kind of, it's a layer. It has taken a certain shape. We don't even recognize it. So you say anadi santana. The santana is, it's a series of cognitions, series of experiences, and now they are lying encrypted in us, and they decide how do we look at because of this. Evam Akyodakyama sarva sunya eva. Now is going towards the sunyavada. Evam Akyodakyamo. It cannot take a strong beating, a strong challenge. Bahyartha sarva sunya eva. Nothing exists. Everything is actually empty. Empty in what sense? For them it is anirvachaniya. अनादिवासनावसाद अनेकाकारेण बुद्धिरेव अवभासते. Anadi vasana vasat is a result of endless anadi vasana. Without a beginning, this vasana is lying in us, and because of that, the same buddhi is appearing as external reality, as a knower, and as a process of knowing all this. Evam Baudha Desika Upadesa Valat Akhila Gyatra Jya Vasanam Uchede. When all these distinguishing features in consciousness we misjudge for real, and when we do ucheda, refute all this faulty diversification of the consciousness into known, known, and process of knowing, vigalita vishayakara vishuddha vijnana udaya utpadyate. And then vishuddha vijnana, that suddha vijnana, that ala vijnana that appears, utpadyate iti ayam eva mohodaya iti. And then that is, he is saying that itself is the real, rise of your spiritual ascendance and enlightenment that happens. Now this is how they are arguing the verse number 36. That is how it sort of comes to an end. It's a long argument that he has made, and then we were supposed to sort of go to the next stage. It's a very important argument, and let's look at the finer points in this just very quickly. So what is the distinction between the Vijnanavadis and the Advaita Vedantis? Let me sum it up. So first thing, we both agree that the mental construction of reality is the cause of bondage. Both the Vijnanavadi and us. Dhimaya is the cause. Yeah. But the difference is that the Vijnanavadi says the Bahya Vastu is avastava. It is not Paramarthika. For us, it is not Paramarthika, but it is Vyavaharika. We don't refute it 100%. He calls it avastava, we call it Vyavaharika. Phenomenal reality we accept, which is very similar to their Sarvastivada, yeah, or the Sautantrika. Similarly, they accept some external reality. And then what is the origin of this Dhimaya Srishti, Jiva Srishti? They mention Anadi Vasana alone, but we say the Bahya is there and it triggers these Indriya Vrittis, yeah, Indriya Sambandha. Then we have mental creations. So we are not refuting the role of the external reality. Now, what is the role of this Bahya Vishaya in Bhoga? For Vijnanavadi, there is no. It's a manipulation of your own consciousness based on your own vasanas. So it is an idealistic position. Whereas for us, there is a nimitta karana of this dhimaya srishti, jiva srishti. That nimitta karana, because the nimitta karana of the dhimaya, and that is that then that itself is causing bondage, or when you get liberated, then you get out of it. So external reality can be there, that is not causing bondage. When because of kama nimitta pravritti we get engaged with it in a certain way, then we are in bondage. That is what we are saying. He's saying there is no such external reality. It's all your own thing, and you are making this whole thing. And there are three arguments. He said, first thing, it's all kshanika, momentary. So how do you prove it exists? Number two, whole part dilemma. Your sense organs cannot reach it fully. And then if you're saying atoms, like the Vaishesikas, atoms are not visible to the senses. And then even if you get to access the atoms, then obviously they will not remain niravayava. So there'll be some kind of internal contradictions. And then Nitya Sahopalavadhi argument is saying Wherever there is jnana of bahya vastu, same time bahya vastu is there. You cannot have a particular attribute of bahya vastu without this. There cannot be reality without knowledge of that reality. How do you say there is a reality without knowing it? So they are all the time happening at the same time. He's saying, why not accept? Why do you have this external imagination about an external reality? It's all consciousness only. Yeah. And then analogy is the dream. Like in dream, same, similar to Vedanta argument. So when do we have liberation? For us, ajnana nivritti. For them, what? Bigalita vishayakara vishuddha vijnanodeya. Bigalita vishayakara. This faulty imagination that external reality exists and you are chasing it. He's saying when you can discard it, then there is vishuddha vijnanodeya. So you can have consciousness without any thoughts. Buddha said something interesting. I tell you, what is the seed of this? Long back, I had read a story, one Jataka Katha or some story. They are beautiful Jain stories. One story is that he's saying there is a dog, and the dog is chewing a piece of bone. There is no meat anymore in it. He's chewing that bone, and when he goes on chewing that piece of bone, he's injuring his jaws and he's bleeding. And then he's testing that blood of his own jaws which have got injured because you are chewing that hard piece of bone, and then you're testing that blood and you're feeling good that I'm getting some blood out of this bone, but it's your own blood. So just bring it to our context, Vijnanavada. The reality that we think we are enjoying or we are connecting with, it's our own creation. That is the meek point they're making. We also say the same thing in Vedanta. However, we say that there has to be a relationship between a phenomenal reality and the mind. Mind cannot produce everything except in dream, but there has to be some external reality, the memory of which is used as raw material to produce the dreams. So that is how we conclude that immediate object of cognition is a mental reality. Both of us accept. You know, Yogachara says no external reality is a condition, not required. We say yeah, it has to be there. And bandha is caused by mental factors. Both of us accept. But the difference is that for them, that Gyatrigeya Vashana, because of that sanskara, you are in bondage. For us, then Kama Nivadha Dhimaya Srishti, because of desire. There is same mother, the child wants milk, the husband wants love and attention, the father wants care. Same lady is there. So this is the Jiva Srishti or Dhimaya Srishti. So Kama Nivadha Dhimaya Srishti, Kamanivata. There is some kind of a desire element in there. For them, it's only desire. There is no external reality as such. Liberation, we have already discussed. Yogachara is saying you try to purify that consciousness. For us, no, you have to have a jnana nibritti. So Vijnana atirikta bahyartha nasti for them. Okay. We say no bahyasya apekshitatvatam. That bahya vastu is there so that you have bahyakara vritti, as a result of which Ishvara Srishti is there. Then you construct your reality with your own emotional inputs. That is how you get into that sarvam khalvidam brahma. So externality is there. So what is the next step for us in Vedanta? You will see that external reality not as false or non-existence, but it is adhishtita on the Brahman. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. Tad jalan shanta upasita. That is Chandogya Upanishad. Tad jalan. That's a beautiful word. So tadja talla. So this whole external reality is born out of Brahman and it will get dissolved in the Brahman. Tad jalan iti shanta upasita. That is what Chandogya Upanishad 3:14:1. So it is discussed there that is how you meditate on it. This external reality has emerged out of and shall get dissolved into that adhisthana, pure consciousness, the Brahman, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. So for them, for the Vijnanavadi, Vedanam eva Atma, that is the only reality they are talking about. They are Anatmavadis. For us, the Atma, the Brahman is Nityaha, Nirvikaraha, Swayam Prakashaha, right? So therefore we have the because Because in na vilakshanatvada asya tathatvam just savadad. Then, in the Brahma Sutra, it is there in 2.28. He's saying there is that particular witness consciousness, and that illuminates all our vrittis, the pramana vrittis that we are having, pramyaka, whatever we are having. It illuminates our process of knowing, but there is nothing to illuminate. Tasya bhasa idam sarvam vibhati. But there is no illuminator of the illuminator. That illuminates everything. Yeah. Vijnanam, Vijnataram arekena Vijnaniyam. So if you look at the Vijnaniya, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, by dint of virtue of which we know, who knows it? Nobody can know it. Like with sunlight, everything becomes visible. With whose light the sun is visible? No, with his own light. There is no external. Now we are going to the next verse. Yeah. Let me go back to that page because, yeah. Praudhya vayarthim angikrityapi bahya sattvam samarthayati. The Vedanti says, even if I agree with you, the Vahyartha Satyata is not a critical factor. Yeah. Because we agree, both of us, that Dhimaya Srishti is the cause of our bondage. However, even there is no need to explain bondage. We can only rely on the consciousness game or the game of the mind as the cause of our bondage. Even then, you cannot deny the existence of the external reality in the next verse. What does he say here? Vayarthamastu vahyam na varayitumismahe prayojanamapekshante namanani tihi stitihi. Manani prayojanam na apekshante itihi stitihi. You see, this is a very powerful thing. One thing, in the earlier verse, the Vedanti said, there is a epistemological requirement. To be able to produce knowledge, you need an external reality. That is what he said, right? Here he is saying, per se, there is a epistemological autonomy, whether you need it or not for bondage, to explain bondage. This simple example is that you are going to the exams. You read your stuff, you're carrying your points, you remember our school days or university days. So you have made some points, you're looking at it and you're going. Now, on the way, somebody from the mountains or something, he's there with some exotic monkeys and he's doing a monkey dance. Is it your prayojana that day? You have exams to write, so you're very serious. But these three monkeys are there, your eyes fall on them. Don't you see the monkeys? You want to see the question paper, you want to see your notes in your hands. You are interested in that. The mother is going to the hospital, the baby isn't very well, and there's a monkey dance going on, or some boys are doing a, what do you call it, flash mob or something, right? Boys suddenly get together and start dancing. She is very busy with a child who isn't very well. She's going to rushing to the hospital. But is there any provision for her to have a look at these people who are in dance? No, she doesn't need it. But she has to see, because there is an external reality. The external reality doesn't depend on whether there is any relevance of that or not. Fact is a fact. Whether you like it or you don't like it, it's not dependent on your like and dislike, your requirements of it. It is there, it will appear. That's a very orthodox positivistic position. So let's look at the argument. Vayartham astu va vahyam. I agree. It may be not so relevant when you are trying to explain bondage in life. However, bahyam na varahitum ismahe. However, you cannot just wish that I'm going to deny the presence of external reality. Manani na prayojanam apekshante. Mana, what is a matter of proof? Pratyakshataha vidyamana. Whatever exists, you can see that. It's because of pratyaksha pramana that you see it exists. You cannot say, I don't need that to appear in my consciousness. No, who are you to decide it? It is there, it will appear. Istitihi. So let's look at this argument and then we will further reflect on it. Bahyasya vayartham astuva. Okay, I say It is not relevant. That means Vayarthya means there is no prayojanam, because it doesn't help us to explain the bondage, because that is again because of Jiva Srishti. Tathapi bahyam varaitum na ishmahe. Even then, you cannot refute the existence of the external reality. Bahyasya varaitum asakyatvat. You cannot refute it. It's not possible for you to refute it. Why? Tad abhiva gachamaha. So you have to accept it. Why? Natu bhavan iva apalapaha. No, apalapaha. There's some printing error. Let's look at this side. Bahyasya varaitum asakyatvat tadu abhyavagacchamaha. So I accept that it is there. Natu bhavan eva apalapaha. Apalamaha. I don't refute its existence like you do. Kutaha tad varanam asakyam ityata aha. The Vijnanavadi will ask why you are saying it is difficult to refute external reality. Prayojanamiti. Manani pramanani prayojanam phalam na apekshante. Whatever is a matter of proof, they don't depend anymore on whether you are finding it relevant or not to explain anything. Iti stitihi. So that is what he's saying. Stitihi. Shakshuradi indriyani so prayojanavat vastu jnanam yatha danayanti tatha. Like for example, Shakshuradi indriyani so prayojana vastu jnanam. You want to have a look at, say for example, you want to test your blood pressure. So you're using an instrument and you wanted to check your blood pressure. So you are looking at it. And that particular blood pressure measuring instrument is lying on a newspaper, and there is a certain news item. And there is some mention of a news item which is upsetting you. It says that India lost a match against a certain uh, team it was playing in a cricket tournament or whatever. So you don't want to see it, right? But that appears and you have to see it because that is there. It's not dependent on whether you need it or not. He's saying, therefore he's saying, manani pramanani prayojanam phalam na apekhyante. They don't need it. Chakshuradi indriyani so prayojanavat vastu jnanam yatha danayanti. The way chakshuradi indriyani, your sense organs, the jnana indriyas, they produce knowledge which you are interested in. Tatha so prayojana shunya vastu jnanam api janayanti. You may not need that, but if it is there in front of you, the eyes, you look at it, you will have that jnana. Sunya vastu jnanam janayanti iti lokanubhava. That is what is experienced. Evam cha nisprayojanasyapi manasa siddhatvena. Whatever is not having prayojana, and then manasa siddhatvena pramitatvat. Once it is there, it's proof to exist as a result of the evidence that you have, epistemological evidence you have. Pramita padartha phalasya apakartum bhavatam iva na asmakam sahasamiti bhavaha. We are not so, sahasa here is pejoratively used. He's trying to say, I don't dare to say this. I remember, like for example, there is a employee or a colleague of yours who comes to the office, always comes late. Yeah, there's a senior guy. He knows nobody can say anything to him. How do you snub him? So one fine morning, you're having a staff meeting. You say that I envy you. You know, you can you come to the office late, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I wish I could do it, but you know, for me that's not an option. I cannot afford it. You are essentially saying he's being able to afford it and he's very powerful. No, you are trying to tell him you're stupid enough, you're doing it, and you can be fired one fine morning for that. So you're just trying to say that, look, I'm the boss, but I'm on time, you are not on time. So you're saying, you know, you have so much of freedom. I wish I could afford that kind of freedom, but I can't. So you are sending across a message. So Vedanta is saying, I am not courageous enough to deny the presence of external reality like you do with flimsy logic. I have better logic, I have a better understanding, and therefore I accept reality at three levels: Paramarthika, Vyavaharika, and Pratibhashika. I'm not like you who would say that external reality per se doesn't exist. That is how it concludes. And therefore, we can have a little 1 minute, 2 minute, okay. Okay, we have 10 minutes. Let's make progress then instead of getting stuck with additional discussions. Isha Srishtir na Jnanavadakam Kintu Sadhakam. Now, this Ishvara Srishti means the neutral external reality. Na Jnanavadakam. Jnanavadakam means Atma Jnanavadakam. Because Ishvara Bahya Srishti is there, you will have Bahya Srishti Jnana. But no, we are not talking about that as Jnana. Jnana is Atma Jnana. It's not Jnanavadakam Kintu Sadhakam. Why? Why Isha Srishti? You see, say for example, we have this Annamaya Kosha. You want to purify your consciousness. You can purify your consciousness if you know the Annamaya Kosha and the Pranamaya Kosha. You can do pranayama, right? God has given you a house, so you can study, you can meditate. How is it Badhaka? If you misuse that facility God has given you, becomes Badhaka. Per se, it's not Badhaka, it is Sadhaka. That is what he's trying to say. And beautiful shloka is following in the verse number 38. बन्धस्येन्माना सद्वैतं तन्निरोधेन साम्यति अभ्यसेद् योगमेवातो ब्रह्मज्ञानेन किं वद. Now you see, in our tradition what happens is, we will do paramata nirasha, refute it. And then you have to have swamata sodhana. You refute another point, another's criticism of you, but then you become conscious. Is there any weakness that I have? So you do swamata sodhana, you purify your own position. Now the Vijnanavadis are Nastikas because they don't accept the Shruti insights, the insights of the Vedas. Good enough. But what about those who agree with us? Do they agree fully with us? Like the yoga school of thought? The yoga school of thought says, Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. See, the point here is, if the vritti is the cause of bondage, jiva srishti is the cause of bondage, you yourself you have argued that look here, bahya vastu is not a cause of bondage. The best example is murchavastha, samadhyavastha, susuptyavastha. Bahya vishaya is there. They are not causing any bondage or sukha dukha, they are not giving. Because you are not having any dhivritti. There is no formations in the mind. And therefore, how do you say I am sad or happy? You are in a state of samadhi, you are in a state of deep sleep, or you are in a state of coma. Yeah. And then we also gave another example that the son is dead. Father doesn't know. He's happy. External reality, the fact is the son is dead. The father doesn't know. Then son is alive. Somebody tells him a lie. Then he's very agitated and he's very depressed and anxious. So it's only the mind which is the cause of bondage and freedom. That is how we had argued. Using that, the yoga school of thought is throwing up a challenge. What is that challenge? He's saying, bandhaschet manasa dvaitam. This dvaita, we are doing Dvaita Viveka Prakarana. Actually, this mental construction of this divided, diverse, complex reality in which we are held hostage, if that is the cause of the bondage, tan nirodhena samyati, you do chittavritti nirodha, there will be peace. What is the problem? Children are creating disturbance. What is the average advice? Once one IS officer, a very good, nice guy. So he once told me, he's now joined, he's a very nice, interesting character. He says, I said, why there is so much of fight between these IPS officers and the IAS officers, the civil servants who are in law and order and who are managing civil administration? He made a very funny remark. He said, do you know what is an IPS officer or a police officer like? I said, what? I'm sorry, without any uh, offense to anybody, this is just a harmless, humorous joke. He said, the law and order guy always gives wrong advice to the political bosses. He says, danda maro theek ho jayega. But we are civil servants. We have a different approach. We are the wife of the political leadership. We think about is good and bad, how the state is going to suffer. So we will never say maro theek ho jayega. That is the police officer's advice. Danda maro theek ho jayega, police officer's advice. Our advice, no, let's find out what the problem. Maybe we can give them some relief. Let's give this some benefit. Let's think about some development. That is our way of looking at it. All the shooting and everything that happened in land acquisition, if you remember. So they would say that this all happened because of faulty advice. that I can control the situation with gun. Yeah. Now, why am I mentioning this? The yoga school of thought is behaving like a police officer. Danda maro theek ho jayega. You are having bandha, mental bondage, sadness, this, that. So what does the psychiatrist do? What is the difference between a counselor? Counselor is like a Vedantist. He will analyze your situation, do proper counseling, help you understand yourself. What does the psychiatrist do? He'll say, okay, what has happened? This, he'll give you sleeping pill. Over. What happens when you wake up? Problems are back. But he'll give you a sedative. So it's good for some time. Huh? Immediate relief he'll give you, but it's not permanent relief. So that is the deficit of a yogic approach to spirituality. If you say this to one yoga expert, he will get very angry. Yoga is indispensable even for a Vedanti because it purifies the mind. The psychiatric prescription of some medicine when somebody is out of control is a must, but that will not help him reconstruct his future path in life without a proper session of counseling and self reconstruction. He has to have self renewal. He needs a bit of spiritual help. He needs a bit of contemplation, not meditation in the blind sense of the term, because you silence the mind. When you wake up, all the problems are back. So a lot of people go on these yoga retreats for 10 days, 7 days. I've talked to a lot of people who have gone to these Vipassana retreats for 10 days and they come back, they feel recharged. 20 days, again, they're having same stress. Nothing happens. Rite Jnanam na Kaivalyam. That's what the Vedanti says. In that argument we are doing here. Bandhasched manasa dvaitam tam nirodhena samyati. So there will be peace. You do chittavritti nirodha. Abhyased yogam eva ataha brahma jnanena kim vada. What is the point of talking about brahma jnana? Abhyas karo, yoga abhyas karo. Trying to do yoga, do kriya yoga, go and join retreats, give some 5,000 per week or 10,000 per week, and you come back enlightened. Forget about enlightenment. You want peace? I'll give you peace. Come, sit. That is the discussion here. Manasa dvaitam manakalpitam. And what is saying? Kama nimittam dvaitam jivasya bandha. You have two words there. Manakalpana, the formation in the mind, and kama nimitta, because you have some desire, some craving, dvaitam jivasya bandha, that is your bondage. Bandha hetuhu iti abhivagamyate, that is what we accept as a hypothesis. If you are saying this, iti che tan nirodhena, that means this manakalpita vishaya nirodhena, tan nirodhena, tasya manasaha nirodhena. If you bind that mind, pacified, niyamanena samyati nasyati, it gets destroyed. Nirodhasya tasya manomaya prapancha utpadakatva abhavat ave bandha eva na bhavati. Dvaita is there, bandha karana is there. Dvaita nasa happens through meditation. Finish it at one go. It's like that hit spray, insect spray. So he's saying that use yoga as an insect spray to remove all the cause of disturbance in your mind. Atah tan nirodha upayam asrayed ityaha. Nirodha ka upaya, what is the way to do nirodha? You take refuge in that. What is that refuge? But actually Buddhists don't accept it. Buddhist says, no, you have to have jnana. Their meditation is different from Patanjali Yoga Sutra. They have understood it. They do samatha meditation and vipassana meditation. But if you look at Anapanasati in the Theravada, these are Sri Lankan methods. If you go to any particular, like for example, I had gone to learn meditation once when I was doing a World Bank project there. I searched and one person said there is a good Buddhist guru Acharya who teaches meditation. I went to him. He talked to me nicely. He had done a PhD from Delhi University in Buddhism. Talked to me and he said, minimum of 3 days you have to give. I said, okay, how many hours? He said, morning to night, I'll give you food, but you have to sit at the same place and meditate. You know what they do? They said, we don't understand how the mind is functioning, so you have to watch it. So first stage is the samatha meditation with a bit of breathing technique. You pacify it. Yeah, that is the hammering part. But once that hammering has been done, you have prepared the dough, then you have to make the roti, right? So similarly you then watch how the consciousness is functioning. So watch your breath, that is anapana. They have a long process, but our method is closer to the Mahayana method, the Prasangika method, where they also believe that you have to analyze the futility of the samsara through the Jnana method. So the Vedantins and if you look at these Sunyavadis, similar way, only difference being that they somehow ignore the real insight. The Mahavakya Vichara is not part of their contemplation. For us, Mahavakya Vichara, the inside of the Upanishads, they hold the ground, fundamental ground. So staying away from there, you can have, but you will not get ultimate liberation. But anyway, that's a larger debate. So ataha tan nirodham upaya asray dityaha abhyaset, you do abhyasa of yoga. Yogam eva chittavritti nirodham eva abhyase. So you do chittavritti nirodha through yoga. Yoga chittavritti nirodha iti patanjala sutram. This is the sutra. Yatha panchavatistanте jnanani manasa saha buddhischa na vichistati tamahu paramam gatim. Tam yogam iti manyante sthiram indriya dharanam apramattah tada bhavati yoga hi prabhavapyayo. Now this is Kathopanishad dimension. But it's very intelligently, the Siddhanti is saying, do you recognize it is mentioned as Paramam Gatim, but don't get confused. It talks about the preparatory stage of the mind where it is completely pacified for meditation on the Mahavakya. Because otherwise, he's saying,